Anthony was a great person, man, kind-hearted, loved his kids, and he'll give you the shirt off his back. When we got the news, I got to like a corner, and I just balled up, man, and was just crying, because I couldn't believe it.
He spotted someone sort of pop out from behind the house wearing all black.
Multiple gunshots ring out, followed by the sound of screeching tires.
He felt very disrespected, and so he wanted revenge.
He's been humiliated. You've got to retaliate.
He was so angry, so bent on getting one guy that he didn't care who else had to get hurt.
I found it pretty chilling. He showed absolutely no remorse.
The city of Rock Hill, South Carolina, sits just 20 miles south of Charlotte.
The Rock Hill community is grown up around the downtown area, and then, of course, neighborhoods keep building out of that. And so the neighborhoods closest to downtown are the oldest ones, and then things that begin to push out towards York and Charlotte and Fort Mill, some of the newer, more modern type neighborhoods. But overall, the whole community is very focused on sports, athletics, great school system, lots of parks and playgrounds, and generally a really great place to raise a family.
On August 9th, 2015, it's around 11 p.m. when multiple calls come into the Rock Hill Police Department's 911 dispatch center.
At this time, the neighbors heard 8 to 9 gunshots ringing out. No one knows what's going on. There's chaos on the scene.
Noise complaints are extremely frequent, especially in the Frank Street area. Hearing gunshots also is not infrequent, even if it's just something innocent like someone shooting in their backyard for fun. But in this case, the noise complaint coincided with gunshots. There happened to be other officers nearby who heard those as well.
And they heard multiple gunshots ring out, followed by the sound of screeching tires.
The officers who are already close by are able to get over to Frank Street pretty quickly.
There were quite a number of people around the victim who was in the front yard.
They find a man laying in the grass, face first, bleeding from his head with an apparent gunshot wound.
He was shot twice, once in his arm and once in the head.
It appeared he saw the shooter and threw up his arms to block the shot, but when he was shot in the head, he immediately went down.
They located a faint pulse on him. He was still alive at the scene at the time.
They roll him over to administer first aid, and they find a gun underneath him.
The gun was just lying between him and the ground, which is a handgun. So it was pretty clear that he had either been holding it or it had fallen out of his waistband where he fell. But they did just treat him right there until the medics arrived.
Since the .380 caliber gun was found underneath Anthony, police think that he was carrying it.
They didn't know exactly what had happened, but one, it's not unusual for people in that neighborhood to carry weapons for protection, and two, it could have easily been assumed that he and another person were possibly shooting at each other. They wouldn't have known that until they got the area cleared and were able to begin searching for spent shell casings. He also had his South Carolina identification in his pocket.
The man is identified as 30-year-old Anthony DeMond Hart.
The victim's still alive. They're trying to work him, trying to save him. He is transported to a hospital in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Many of the people who are out in the street know Anthony, and so word gets around pretty quickly.
They called me and it was like, man, Anthony just got shot. I was like, what? So, like I said, I got the keys, took off to the hospital. His friends was there and family was there. It was kind of a couple laughs at first, just joking about things in the past, but because we didn't know the severity of it.
Anthony Hart was born on August 12, 1984.
Anthony was born and raised in Rock Hill. He lived there his whole life.
He got a little brother. He kind of took him under his wing. You know how it is growing up with sisters and brothers. You yelling at them and fussing and fighting. You know, it's always yelling. Somebody yelling at somebody. Anthony act just like his father. His father is loud, just like Anthony was loud. His mother, she was laid back. We met in high school. If I could describe him with one word, it'd be loud. You knew Anthony was somewhere nearby and didn't even see him, but you heard him.
Anthony had a lot of friends. He played sports and his mom's house was always filled. He had a lot of personality and a really big heart.
The list goes on with very kind, hard moments he did. And he'll give you the shirt off his back. Me and Anthony graduated in 2002. Anthony went straight into the work field. We both did, kind of started working right after high school. When it came down to it, to pay the bills, we were hard workers.
He became a father in his early 20s, and then he went on to have 2 more kids.
He has 2 boys and a little girl. He loved his children. He was a great, great family man. He was a great father.
Anthony eventually went to school to be an electrician. He thought that would be a good career and he would be able to support his kids. So when he wasn't with his kids or working, he liked to hang out with his friends in the neighborhood.
In our free time, we played cards. We loved to gamble. We might gamble on who walking in the door next. But it was mainly cards, dice, stuff like that, football games. We would gamble on anything.
He was a good guy who worked hard and kept a low profile. He loved his kids and would help anyone who needed it.
He was one of those guys that you just wouldn't expect to have no drama, you know, no beef.
On the night of August 9th, 2015, word that Anthony had been shot shocks his friends and family. They gather at a hospital in Charlotte, where they wait for an update.
Mama and Daddy, they were there because we didn't know, you know, the situation at first. Everybody kind of was filling in what was going on, so I kind of got filled in when I got there.
Anthony was shot in his left temple and twice in his left forearm. Apparently, Anthony was trying to block the shots with his forearm, and Anthony then died not long after he arrived at the hospital. The shot to the temple proved fatal.
When we got the news that he had passed away, man, it was just like chaos everywhere. Everybody started screaming and crying. I remember me personally, you know, I got to like a corner and I just balled up, man, and was just crying because I couldn't believe it. We just all just broke. It was terrifying.
Back in Rock Hill, homicide detectives arrive on Frank Street.
I do not know exactly if it was during transport or very shortly after. I remember that we had not been on the scene all that long before we were notified that he had died.
This seemed as a regular shooting call, but after he died, it took it to a whole different level. It was now a homicide case.
We located 7 shell casings that were of a .22 caliber. They were all near the back of the house, though. There were none near Anthony or his, where he fell. The shooting had happened from sort of the back side of the house towards the side of it, which would have given a direct line of sight to the roadway where he was located.
The casings looked like they were from some type of long gun or rifle. They all appeared to come from the same weapon.
But not from the .380 found underneath Anthony.
It was apparent that his weapon had not been fired. It was fully loaded. There were obviously no spent casings around him.
It was pretty clear that he was carrying a gun, probably for his own protection, but he never had a chance to fire it in his defense.
Police speak with the witnesses.
People had fled the area after the shooting happened for fear of their safety. But there were quite a number of people who had been inside the home there playing some cards that night, just hanging out, sort of having a kickback, as they call it. And they were all mostly outside looking at the situation.
One of them is a man named Roderick Wright.
Mr. Wright was just a longtime friend of the victim, Mr. Hart. And he was another one of the persons there that evening playing cards and hanging out.
Roderick tells investigators that Anthony had also been in the house.
So they were just generally hanging out that evening. I don't know how long they had been playing, but at some point he stepped outside, I guess, to get some fresh air.
Roderick went with him.
He was speaking with his friend Roderick Wright, and they were just catching up outside the home where there was a card game going on.
And as they were speaking, Roderick spotted someone sort of pop out from behind the back of the house, wearing all black.
It seemed weird, and it put both of them on edge.
He saw that person step back behind the house, and he said to Mr. Hart, let's go back inside. They began to walk back into the house out of concern for this man that he saw in the shadows.
So Anthony hesitated for a minute, and then he said, I got to get something out of my car.
Anthony went to his vehicle. We don't know for sure what he did, but our assumption is that he got his handgun out of the vehicle to protect himself and his friend as they were then going to go back inside the house where they would feel more safe. And then they were turning to go walk back inside.
Before they could get inside, the man reemerged.
This man stepped back out from the side of the house again and indiscriminately opened fire.
There was just gunshots, one after the other, just out of the blue.
Rock Hill, South Carolina police are investigating the shooting death of 30-year-old Anthony Hart. Investigators on the scene speak with Anthony's friend and witness to the shooting, Roderick Wright.
A man came from the side of the house, dressed in all black, just opened up fire, started shooting, and he said he panicked and fled the scene.
He was definitely on edge and scared and had gotten his car and sped away. So it was a very traumatic moment for him.
The witness stated that he fled from the scene in fear of getting shot himself. So as soon as he heard that the coast was clear, he came back.
Roderick's statement helps investigators develop a theory.
If someone is dressed in all black with a weapon, sneaking up behind the house, the theories would then be that they were there to intentionally rob or kill someone. It wasn't a random act of violence. It wasn't like an argument that went sideways. And because there was a card game going on inside the house where money was being used in the betting, it was assumed that possibly the suspect was there to rob the people of their money at the card game.
Other witnesses who'd been at the card game report that one man left early and angry.
Sean Durham had been at the card game and lost his money and left angry and upset that he had lost the money. And it was assumed that he had come back to rob everyone to take back his money. That was the initial rumor that was circulating in the streets, and we heard that from many different people that night.
But Roderick can't say one way or another whether Sean was the shooter.
Roderick was only able to say that the suspect was wearing all black because the backside of those houses on Frank Street is very dark, especially that late at night. Very few of them have any back porch lights. And so it would have been pitch black, and Roderick would have been looking from a well-lit position in the street into darkness, and so he would not have been able to give any sort of a positive identification of the shooter.
They actually find Sean and talk to him. He admits that he left angry, but insists that he had nothing to do with the murder. He says that he went to a friend's house and stayed there the rest of the night.
Sean is still a suspect at this time, but he could be lying about his alibi, so this time he's just a person of interest.
There's nothing connecting him to the shooting. No proof.
Detectives plan to follow up on Sean's alibi. In the meantime, more tips come in.
Investigators learned about a shooting that happened a week prior, and they said figuring out that this could be connected to the shooting.
On August 2nd, a man opened fire on a home on Frank Street, just 3 houses down from the scene of Anthony's shooting.
A male subject came in the evening, stood in the front yard, and opened fire into the house through the front windows of the house.
There were 9 people inside the home. Based on witness statements of individuals inside the home, it appears that one of the first or second rounds caused the blinds, the window dressings to fall. There were 2 small children, toddlers really, who were playing in the floor of the living room. He continued to fire multiple rounds into the house before fleeing the scene.
There were several people at home at the time, including a grandmother, a pregnant woman, and children.
Somehow, no one was killed.
The shooting was immediately reported by the family that lived there. The male subject inside had either been grazed by a bullet or by glass, and so he needed some medical treatment. The family was clearly traumatized by the shooting.
Investigators identified a suspect in the shooting.
One of the residents of that home. She did not know his name, but she knew him to go by Q.
The next day, by utilizing the nicknames that had been given to us, we were able to produce a photo lineup, go back to the family, and one of the young women was willing to cooperate with us and identify him as the shooter.
They learned that his real name is Quinteris Miller, and he was just 17 years old.
Based on her identification and the other evidence collected in the investigation, Miller was charged with those 9 counts of attempted murder and discharging a firearm into dwelling. Police were able to obtain warrants for his arrest on those charges, but he evaded police.
We knew that through tips that he had gone back to Chester and was in hiding. And so we contacted the City of Chester Police and the Chester County Sheriff's Department, let them know that, he was wanted for an attempted murder, and they began doing surveillance and looking for him.
There's no clear connection between these 2 incidents, just rumors.
When we see these crimes happen in the neighborhoods, we know that there are witnesses, but oftentimes people don't want to speak up because of their distrust for law enforcement, for one, and that relationship has been strained. In addition to that, they're fearful of retaliation.
You have 2 shootings just a few houses away from each other within a week. Are they connected? The only way to find out is to find Quinteris and talk to him.
Anthony seemed like an all-around great guy. He was not someone that the police dealt with. His family was very kind and cooperative, and overall it was a situation where a truly innocent person had been killed and needed justice. I met with Anthony's family shortly after the shooting because, of course, we wanted to know if Anthony had any problems with other people who might have been there to intentionally target and hurt him. And of course, the family couldn't think of any reasons at all why someone would want to hurt their son. Early in the investigation, especially that night, there were not many working theories for us to run with, particularly after Roderick came and said that he saw the shooter behind the house. That set up a situation that was something like an ambush.
After 30-year-old Anthony Hart dies during a shooting in his Rock Hill neighborhood, police look to question the suspect in another shooting, Quinteris Miller.
He allegedly shot into a house full of people, which included a toddler and a senior citizen. There's a warrant for his arrest now, but now he's on the run.
Word on the street is that the 2 shootings are connected.
People are saying that the same person who shot up the house shot Anthony, but police don't know if that's true, and if that's true, what the connection might be.
As police continue to hunt for Quinteris, they take a closer look at the first shooting.
The family did tell us that it happened probably because of the fight that took place there in their front yard earlier that day. The family made the connection for us because they knew that Quinteris was present at both incidents.
On August 2nd, a man by the name of Swidarius Beatty got into an argument or a fight of some sort with his girlfriend at the time.
Beatty's girlfriend is Quinteris Miller's sister.
He received a call from his sister that she was there, and so he went over there to help protect his sister.
Quinteris Miller arrived on Frank Street with a group of other people to confront Mr. Beatty about the altercation with his sister. During that confrontation, things escalated.
A young woman got out some pepper spray, and she sprayed Quinteris' sister and everyone who was in her car. Quinteris got mad about that and hit the pepper spray out of the young woman's hand. Well, that was Beatty's sister, so Beatty got mad and attacked Quinteris with the brick.
Suddenly, Beatty hits him in the face with a brick and knocks him unconscious.
And then he began to, again, hit Quinteris more times while he was unconscious.
The witness goes on to tell police that some good Samaritans jumped in to help.
There were two individuals about 2 houses down, a father and son, who were sitting on their porch and observing this go down in front of the houses on Frank Street. And after Mr. Miller had been knocked unconscious, Beatty was on top of him and continued to assault him. These two men got up and ran to help Mr. Miller, and they were able to effectively get Beatty off of him.
Anthony and his dad ran over and broke up the fight. And then Quinteris' sister and their friends were able to drag him into a car and get him out of there. No one was charged for anything that took place there because all the parties did not want to cooperate or press charges.
Rumor has it that Quinteris left the incident humiliated.
Beatty essentially got the best of Mr. Miller.
He felt very disrespected by the fact that he had been hit with the brick, and so he wanted revenge.
So at this point, Quinteris is embarrassed. He's been humiliated. Here you've come to help your sister, but you underestimated what you were walking into. So you expected to come in and save your sister, but instead, really someone had to save you. So now he's got to figure out what is he going to do to eliminate that, to make sure that he's not going to be made fun of, that people are not going to lose respect for him. Because oftentimes that's what it's about. It's about respect. And whether someone's going to challenge you or not, you've got to come back and make sure that you reestablish and retaliate for what has happened to you.
Miller returns to Frank Street and he approaches the house there, and standing approximately 10 feet from the living room window, he opens fire with a pistol into the home.
Swaderis lived in that home with several family members, so it's suspected that Quinteris was just shooting into the home hoping to hit Swaderis. It's clear what happened there that day, but what does any of this have to do with Anthony Hart?
On August 13th, we got an anonymous tip.
The tipster says she overheard a disturbing conversation between Quinteris and two other men, Gabriel Mobley and Xavier Thompson, the night before Anthony's murder.
She heard the Miller and the others discussing what he had on his mind that night, that he needed a rifle to hit a lick, which is a term that essentially means that he wants to commit some sort of crime.
Gabriel says his brother has a rifle that he offers to Quinteris.
Gabriel Mobley retrieved the gun from inside the house and gave it to Mr. Miller.
The tipster says the men left the house immediately.
All three young men, Gabriel, Xavier, and Quinteris, left with the gun towards Frank Street.
Moments later, the tipster says she heard gunfire.
Witnesses say she heard gunshots. We know that this is the same day and time that Anthony was shot. And we know that three men headed in the same direction. And this is the same gun that killed Anthony.
Investigators are on the hunt for 17-year-old Quinteris Miller, a suspect in multiple crimes, including the murder of Anthony Hart.
A tipster tells police that Gabriel Mobley gave Quinteris a rifle that he may have used to kill Anthony, so they searched his home.
Because he was on probation, we had the right to search him and his house based on this tip that we got. And so we searched the house thoroughly and we found a box of .22 caliber ammunition that had been intentionally hidden in the bathroom.
After searching the home, investigators found the bullets that matches the crime scene, but they don't find the gun that killed Anthony Hart.
He could not possess any ammunition at the time, so he was in trouble for that on the probation side of things.
They're getting closer, but there's still so many unanswered questions. Like, why would Quinteris kill Anthony? It just made no sense.
Then, on August 19th, investigators get the chance to ask him.
We knew that through tips that he had gone back to Chester and was in hiding. And so we contacted the City of Chester Police and the Chester County Sheriff's Department, let them know that, he was wanted for an attempted murder, and they began doing surveillance and looking for him.
Quinteris was arrested in Chester, then transported to Rock Hill Police Department.
They spotted him getting into a car in downtown Chester. They just simply pulled him over and he gave no problems. They arrested him and transported him up to Rock Hill for us.
At that point, Quinteris was arrested for attempted murder charges for shooting up the house.
Quinteris agrees to an interview.
He freely told us about the fight that happened in the morning, but then he denied having come back to shoot up Mr. Beatty's house that evening.
He denies involvement in any of the shootings.
Instead, he offers up an alibi.
He denied any involvement, but he did admit that he was in Rock Hill that day, that he was with the Mobleys, and he had claimed that he was playing video games with Gabriel Mobley at the time of the shooting.
And then once we got to the questioning of the murder, he requested a lawyer and he ended the interview and did not discuss that at all. We informed the family of updates of the case as it was going along. So once we had arrested Quinteris for the first shooting, that's when we spoke to the family.
Anthony's dad is familiar with the house where Quinteris allegedly opened fire after the fight.
He and Anthony had friends who lived a couple of houses down from where the incident took place.
It was a very common place for them to be, and that's when he remembered.
He and his son, Anthony, they witnessed a fight on Frank Street.
Anthony's father put two and two together and let me know that he and Anthony had actually intervened in that fight. Because to him, he didn't know that it had anything to do with the murder, and so he didn't think to mention it because it's not uncommon to find teenagers, fighting in the streets. During the fight, Quinteris Miller was knocked unconscious, but the male subject who was assaulting him did not stop hitting him even though he was unconscious. So Anthony and his father intervened to prevent Mr. Miller from getting more injuries while he was unconscious on the ground, and they helped break up the fight.
This is it. This is the connection between the two shootings, but it doesn't make sense.
If Anthony tried to help Quinteris, why would Quinteris seek Anthony out and gun him down?
Meanwhile, a former suspect in Anthony's murder is also in custody on unrelated charges.
Sometime shortly after the murder, Sean Durham was arrested on a completely separate case.
Sean was considered a suspect early on because he got angry and stormed out of the card game when he lost money.
While he was in the York County Detention Center, he was not given a bond for his charges, and he desperately wanted a bond, and so he volunteered to work with the police to clear his name, because obviously he had heard the rumors that he was being named as the shooter in Anthony's case. And so he and his lawyer were cooperative with the police.
On August 24th, Sean and his attorney reach out to detectives.
Sean Durham, he volunteers to help police get Quinteris to confess.
He stated that if he was put in a room with Miller, he felt sure that he could get Miller to talk about it and to admit that he was the shooter in that case. They arranged to have both Miller and Mr. Durham transported from the jail to the law center in Rock Hill, which is where the Rock Hill Police Department is located. They placed a camera and some audio recording equipment in a room. They brought Mr. Miller and Durham into that room.
On August 28, 2015, police in Rock Hill, South Carolina, listen in as Sean Durham attempts to pull a murder confession out of Quinteris Miller.
Quinteris and Sean are placed in a room alone together with a hidden recording device.
The investigators then went to another room where they watched, I believe, a live feed from the camera as Durham spoke with Miller about the incident. And it was that conversation between Miller and Durham that really sealed Hugh Miller's fate. He asked him, were you just trying to get one under your belt, meaning a murder, taking a life? And Miller just shook his head and laughed.
It would have given Quinteris a lot of street cred. And so he seemed quite happy to talk about the murder with Sean. Sean was able to get Quinteris to open up and talk about the murder because Quinteris would have thought that his information would be safe with Sean. Quinteris looked up to and respected Sean. They ran in the same circles, had the same friends, had been through a lot together.
How many shell casings they found?
And they said they found like 7, 8.
Sean really just approached Quinteris from a position of being sort of excited about hearing the details of the case.
Sean starts pushing. He starts getting at the question that police really want answered. Why? And what Quinteris says is a complete shock.
And he asked him, he said, you mean you killed the wrong person? And again, he laughed and nodded his head.
And it wasn't even meant for him. That's crazy, man.
He then went on to talk about who the intended target was, that it was Mr. Beatty, and the reason why he was seeking retribution against him for being assaulted and getting knocked out a week before.
Quinteris admitted that he accidentally shot the wrong guy because he thought Anthony was the man who hit him, where in actuality it was Swandarius Beatty who hit him.
Quinteris thought he was returning back to the same house he'd previously shot up, where Swandarius lived.
He still had revenge on his mind, and so he essentially decided he wanted to go back and finish what he had started.
We're talking about a boy who's probably never done anything this serious before. He's walking through an extremely dark area. His eyes may not be adjusted correctly. He was actually several houses down. Quinteris essentially said that he just popped out. He started spraying, which means just shooting the weapon at the two people that he saw.
He mistakenly believed that one of those two men was Mr. Beatty.
You just went from one house.
He indiscriminately opened fire on these two individuals, striking, one of the bullets struck Mr. Hart in the head and killed him.
Oh, one got hit. Damn, bro, that's crazy, man.
Quinteris knew that he had not killed Beatty, but it didn't have much of an impact on him as to who he had actually killed.
You know where the time from? Come.
I found it pretty chilling, too, that he showed absolutely no remorse. To find out that you mistakenly killed an innocent man, someone you didn't even know, and to show no contrition or remorse, I thought was particularly chilling about Mr. Miller.
Even more chilling is the fact that Anthony attempted to help Quinteris.
The real tragic irony in this case is that the man that he mistakenly shot, Anthony Hart, was one of the two individuals who saved him a week before when he was being assaulted in front of the houses on Frank Street. Anthony Hart intervened for Miller.
Investigators finally have what they need.
Once we heard Quinteris give that information, it confirmed for us that this was all tied back to the August 2nd shooting at Beatty's home. This was just a 16-year-old who wanted revenge because he got hit in the fist with a brick. It really just made the whole thing that much more tragic.
With that confession, that was enough for officers then to charge Mr. Miller with the murder of Anthony Hart at that time. Under South Carolina law, he was an adult, so he was tried and prosecuted as an adult.
Following a taped confession, Quinteris Miller faces over 20 charges, including murder and multiple accounts of attempted murder. Investigators continue to work the case, interviewing his alleged accomplices in the murder, Xavier Thompson and Gabriel Mobley.
G. Mobley and Xavier Thompson went with Quinteris to commit the crime.
They put one another as the accomplice to Quinteris, and they tried to protect themselves. And so Xavier ultimately said it was Gabriel and Quinteris who went to go do the shooting. Gabriel said, no, it was Xavier and Quinteris who went to do the shooting. So they were being somewhat cooperative, but it was hard to tell which one was telling the truth. It seemed a little bit more spur of the moment for Xavier and Gabriel to be involved in the case. It seemed like they were going along with their friend because it might have been an exciting thing. Maybe they didn't know exactly what he intended to do, although he did take a firearm to go do a lick. They weren't completely unaware.
They tell investigators that they dumped the gun in the woods.
They hid the gun somewhere. We never did find the murder weapon.
Prosecutors don't want to take any chances. They offer Quinteris the opportunity to plea.
Because we did not have direct physical evidence like fingerprints or DNA. There was no video of him committing it. That would still be a strong case, but not a guaranteed one.
For months, Quinteris and his attorneys refuse.
The case was a little bit more than a year old, and we had been unable to reach a plea agreement. The case was set for trial in the early part of 2017. It was actually not until just days before this trial was scheduled to start on a Monday morning that we received confirmation from Mr. Miller's attorney that he wanted to accept our offer to plead guilty. Miller wanted to plead guilty under the doctrine of North Carolina versus Alford, so he did not actually have to admit his guilt, but he acknowledged that there was substantial evidence against him enough that there's a substantial likelihood that a jury would find him guilty. And with the evidence confirmed against him, he accepted the state's offer and pled guilty for the negotiated sentence of 30 years. He cannot be released early, he cannot make parole.
Quinteris does not make a statement or give any details of his crimes.
He was so angry, so bent on getting one guy that he didn't care who else had to get hurt along the way for him to get that revenge against just one person. So in his case, an entire family was traumatized. There were an elderly woman and a pregnant woman and children who their lives were put at risk when Quinteris shot up their home. Obviously, an innocent man, Anthony, lost his life over this, and ultimately, Quinteris never got the revenge he wanted.
Part of the tragedy is that he didn't just take Anthony Hart's life, he threw his own life away. And over something as just trivial as being knocked out in a fight. You know, I think that it's clear from his actions, mistakenly shooting the wrong person, that he's a very dangerous person. And his propensity for violence is obvious. From the facts and the evidence in the case.
Anthony's killer was caught, and he is getting the consequences for what he did to Anthony. But I'm sure that his family would rather have Anthony alive today than, another young man in prison.
There's just something about Anthony Hart acting as a good Samaritan and intervening for this man who ultimately killed him that just would be so hard for me, I think, to stomach as a family member.
Like, this guy literally was helping you out, and you not paying attention, or you just filled with rage and want a retaliation, just come out and just start shooting, and not knowing you just took the life of the guy that helped you out. It was crazy. It was just stupid. That shows you what type of person Anthony is. A very, kind person, will give you the shirt off his back and, help anybody in need.
True love can be empowering. You find yourself dreaming of a life you never thought possible. The perfect family, in the perfect home, with the perfect man. But what if that dream life is just a mirage? A game you're both playing. But only he knows the rules. Up becomes down. Light becomes dark. You find yourself desperate to keep playing, to keep your dream alive, until one day, it all comes crashing down. May 15th, 2010, 12:30 p.m. It's a beautiful Saturday in the North Ward neighborhood of Newark, New Jersey.
Newark is the largest city in the state of New Jersey. The North Ward, it's an urban area, is comprised of apartment buildings and businesses.
People are kind of doing the regular Saturday routine.
But that normal routine is soon interrupted by the sound of sirens.
Police get this 911 call that someone had seen a woman being attacked at her apartment.
Responding officers arrive at the apartment complex within minutes and make their way to the residence. Upon entry, they discover a grisly scene.
It was a brutal scene with blood everywhere.
There was blood all over the floor and the walls.
This woman, she's essentially laying there dying.
There were numerous lacerations all over her body.
Many of those stab wounds were in the neck and face area.
Neighbors who were already on the scene identify the victim as 29-year-old mother of three, Sharon Mowens.
Sharon is literally fighting for her life at this point. She may not survive this attack.
Sharon's 2 young sons and her 10-year-old daughter are also at the apartment.
The ambulance eventually showed up and they transported Sharon and her 3 children together to the nearby hospital.
As Sharon is rushed to the hospital, detectives begin securing the scene. Soon, they will uncover the true horrors that Sharon faced, and the chilling tale of the teenage mother at the center of it all. 18-year-old Nadia Venable was determined to give her daughter the world.
She wanted to create a stable life for her daughter.
She was doing things that most people her age were not doing. She was working full-time. She had her own vehicle. She had her own apartment.
For an 18-year-old to go to work every day, come home, pay bills, there was some fight inside of her.
Nadia's relationship with her daughter's father hadn't worked out, but she didn't let that affect home life with her little girl.
She was a good mom. The two didn't have much, but they did have each other.
Soon, Nadia landed a well-paying job at a popular downtown restaurant.
She considered this job to be a stepping stone into something better. She was hoping to work her way up.
Thrilled with the opportunities the new job afforded her, there was just one thing missing in Nadia's life.
Nadia wasn't looking for a partner that she could do life with, somebody that could help her to possibly raise her child.
A few months into her new job, Nadia found her match. In 39-year-old, like Nadia, Kenny had just ended a relationship and had children of his own.
He had 2 children as well as kind of an adopted stepdaughter.
As for Kenny, he was intrigued by Nadia's charm and outgoing personality.
He starts to pursue Nadia to take their relationship to another level. He painted this picture that there was going to be more for the 2 of them going forward.
Soon, the 2 were inseparable.
People are looking for intimacy. They're looking for partnership. Nadia can use the love. She can use the companionship.
The relationship was really going somewhere very seriously and fast.
For Nadia's 19th birthday, Kenny surprised her with an engagement ring.
They move in together.
Even though they had a 20-year age difference, they really were getting along. They were having a good time. This was not a May-December romance. This was something that was going to go long-term.
8 months later, the happy couple received some unexpected news.
Nadia finds out that she's pregnant with Kenny's child.
In Nadia's mind, Kenny's gonna be in her life forever.
But following her 20th birthday, Nadia would find out she had competition. And if she wanted her happy ending with Kenny, she would have to fight for it, to the death. An ambulance has just transported 29-year-old mother of 3, Sharon Mowens, to Newark's University Hospital with multiple stab wounds. Her life hangs in the balance.
The injuries were so severe, they weren't sure she was going to make it.
Inside Sharon's apartment, detectives begin processing a scene that can only be described as horrific.
It was very chilling. You could see the violence. You see smears and marks, and it was a very traumatic event in such a confined space.
The scene suggests a crime of passion.
It's a close, personal attack. The attacker just wanted to make a statement.
But who would want to try and kill Sharon Mowens? And why? Investigators would soon uncover a tumultuous love triangle and the desperate lengths one woman would go to make her man happy.
She showed just how far she was willing to go to prove to Kenny, I'm the woman for you. No one else.
In May 2010, 20-year-old Nadia Venable was head over heels in love with 39-year-old co-worker Kenny Carter. The couple had recently gotten engaged, moved in together, and were now expecting a baby girl.
Kenny was the man of her dreams.
She had 1 child already, but it was a dream come true for her to have another with Kenny.
But Nadia didn't realize building a life with Kenny would put her in dangerous conflict with another woman.
Nadia didn't know exactly what she was getting herself into.
Investigators are trying to make sense of the vicious attack on 29-year-old mother Sharon Mowens, who has been found stabbed in her apartment.
She was stabbed multiple times.
Adding to the tragedy is the fact that Sharon's 3 children were home during the attack.
The fact that Sharon's young children were present is horrific just in and of itself.
In the kitchen, detectives note a strong odor of bleach.
We think Sharon had been cleaning immediately prior to when this incident happened. So it initially didn't strike the law enforcement officers as being strange.
Police also find what they believe to be the weapon used in the attack on Sharon.
They found a knife that was on the ground. It was approximately 10 to 12 inches long and serrated on one side. The kitchen did show sign of struggle.
While CSIs continue to collect evidence, detectives speak to Sharon's neighbors, hoping they can provide further insight into what happened. Sharon's next-door neighbor, Lisa Jackson, claims she and her friend heard a commotion coming from Sharon's apartment around noon. A few minutes later, they went next door to check things out.
They were just in shock.
Lisa says another neighbor was already there trying to help Sharon. They also found Sharon's 2 young sons in the back bedroom. But Sharon's 10-year-old daughter was nowhere in sight. Thankfully, just moments later, she returned to the apartment.
Sharon's daughter said that she ran to a local business to try and get help.
The employee at that establishment dialed 911.
Lisa says she then stayed with Sharon's daughter until first responders arrived.
She tried to comfort her and shield her from the horrific scene while they were waiting for the police.
Detectives know they need to speak with Sharon's daughter to see what she witnessed. But before they go to the hospital to interview her, detectives speak with the neighbor who had initially found Sharon. He comes forward with some chilling information.
He saw 2 assailants leaving the apartment covered in blood.
One of them gave him a smile, and he said that it's the kind of smile that you just can't unsee.
He observed those 2 getting into a green vehicle and fleeing the scene.
Detectives issue a bolo for the green SUV and its occupants, who the witness identified as 2 African-American females. After that, they head to the hospital to speak with Sharon's daughter.
Upon my arrival to the hospital, I see the 3 children there.
Family members are now with Sharon's children and inform detectives that Sharon died from her injuries shortly after arriving at the hospital.
Doctors did all they could to try to save Sharon. Unfortunately, 30 minutes after the attack, she was pronounced dead.
My heart just dropped. My brother tells me she's gone. I don't believe it. So I go in the room. My sister's laying in the bed. I can't believe this happened. My sister was the best person. She makes you smile. She will bring you joy. That girl was the most beautiful person.
Sharon's death is immediately classified as a homicide. Detectives must now begin the delicate process of interviewing Sharon's young daughter.
She said Sharon is cleaning the house. She's having fun with her daughter.
And then there's a knock on the door. She opens the door, and there's somebody standing outside asking for Sharon.
She said, "One moment," and she went and got her mother.
The child says Sharon went to the door and all of a sudden, a second woman came out of nowhere.
Bleach was thrown onto Sharon.
Bleach makes you blind for some time.
She was ambushed.
This girl knew her mother was in trouble, so she ran for help. It was very brave of her.
Sharon's daughter then reveals a shocking detail.
They learned that the person that came to the door was someone that she recognized.
She said a woman named Nana attacked her mother, and Nana is Dad's girlfriend.
Investigators are stunned. This child knows her mother's killer. And it looks like her dad does too. Soon, detectives will uncover a tale of manipulation that pushed one young woman to drastic measures.
Once she was gone, they can be together and live happily ever after.
May 2010. Police in Newark, New Jersey are investigating the stabbing death of mother of three, Sharon Mowens. Sharon's 10-year-old daughter may hold the key to solving the case.
She witnessed the attack and ran for help.
It was very brave of her, and she didn't panic or freeze, which a lot of adults would do.
Well, I was proud of my niece, and I'm like, she's a very strong girl.
Sharon's daughter tells detectives that her daddy's new girlfriend is the one who attacked her mother. At that moment, the man she calls her father arrives. 39-year-old Kenny Carter.
Kenny was actually the child's stepfather.
He was at work when this happened.
After a brief reunion with his stepdaughter, Kenny speaks with investigators.
When Kenny speaks to police, he is completely distraught.
Kenny tells detectives that he is the biological father of Sharon's two youngest children, and that he and Sharon had a lengthy history.
Kenny and Sharon, they're together for a very long time. They're considered common law husband and wife.
Kenny says that he and Sharon had been separated for more than a year, but had recently decided to get back together.
Kenny told Sharon, I still love you. I still want to be with you. We can work this out. We can get back together.
She was really in love with Kenneth. Once she came back home, my sister was happy. She had the faith that everything was going to work out between them. My sister thought they was going to spend their life together.
Investigators tell Kenny that his stepdaughter saw who attacked Sharon and can identify her.
Police asked, who's Nana?
Kenny explains that Nana is a recent girlfriend named Nadia Venable.
Told us that he believed that his girlfriend was behind it.
Kenny explains that his relationship with Nadia started up when he and Sharon were separated.
Nadia was a perfect out for Kenny, for him to feel like he can run into her arms, and the relationship between the two of them flourished during the time where he was upset with Sharon.
He said that they had planned to live together, that he was moving all of them into a larger apartment, that he was going to live with Nadia and with Nadia's child from another person, as well as the child that they were going to be having. It was going to basically be a happy family.
Kenny tells detectives that shortly after moving in with Nadia, he realized that it was Sharon with whom he really wanted to spend the rest of his life.
He worked it out with Sharon and never looked back.
Detectives suspect Nadia was jealous that Kenny had gone back to Sharon. But was she truly capable of killing for her man?
They needed to find Nadia Venable.
Police run a motor vehicle check on Nadia and discover that she owns a green SUV. The same type of car Sharon's neighbor saw fleeing the scene.
A witness saw two women leaving the scene in a car that matched the description of Nadia's car.
Detectives feel confident they're getting closer to catching Sharon Mowens' killer. But in reality, they've only scratched the surface and will soon uncover a reckless game where one man had pitted two women against each other.
He liked that his new girlfriend and his ex were competing for his attention.
They fight, and what does Kenny do? He's egged on the fight.
Detectives investigating the murder of Sharon Mowens have uncovered a deadly love triangle. And now the search is on for suspected killer, 20-year-old Nadia Venable.
When Kenny speaks to police, he explains Nadia Venable is his ex-girlfriend who he's getting ready to have a child with. But he had gone back to Sharon and to be with his family prior to Sharon being found dead.
As police search for Nadia's green SUV, detectives speak to Sharon's family to get further insight on her relationship with Kenny, as well as Kenny's dalliance with Nadia.
He introduced Nadia to Sharon and his children. This wasn't something that was kind of this dirty little secret. It was something that was out there.
Sharon's family insists that during Kenny's separation with Sharon, he was constantly instigating drama between her and his new girlfriend.
Kenneth used to say inappropriate stuff to get my sister jealous and mad. That's the type of man that he was.
The family also says that Kenny often flaunted his relationship with Nadia whenever they came to pick up the kids. And Nadia was more than happy to play along.
I think Nadia looked at Sharon and said, you know, I'm younger, I'm here now, he's mine.
She showed off the ring, saying that they was engaged.
Anger, resentment, rage, all these things probably were going on inside Sharon, all at the time while she had to be a loving mother to her 3 children.
Sharon's family tells detectives it didn't take long for the situation to come to a head.
There were physical altercations that happened between Sharon and Nadia that started off verbal and ended up with a struggle.
The family says that one especially heated altercation took place in May of 2009, and Kenny blew off Sharon's phone calls.
Sharon tries calling Kenny, he's not picking up. She then starts calling Nadia's phone. She's not picking up.
That's when Sharon saw her ex and his new girlfriend parked just a few blocks down the street.
Sharon approaches Nadia. They start screaming at each other.
Kenny could have separated those 2 women when they were fighting. From the looks of it, Kenny possibly provoked it.
He's the ringmaster. He's egging on the fight. He's not pulling them away. He's not calling the police. He's just enjoying watching these 2 women fight over him.
Each one of these women were almost trying to see who at the end Kenny would choose.
Kenny was clearly playing both of these women.
Still, Nadia is the one who will have to answer for the alleged crime. Police ramp up their search for her.
They spot Nadia's vehicle in a nearby town of East Orange, Jersey, which is not too far from Newark.
Fearful that Nadia will flee the state if she discovers they're looking for her, detectives hatch a plan to lure her into custody before she even knows what's happening.
They decide that they would tow the car.
So the next day, Nadia takes the bait, and she calls the East Orange Police Department to report her car stolen.
She gave the make and model, and they told her that she had to come down to the precinct to collect paperwork in order for her to pick it up from the impound lot.
I called the East Orange Police Department personnel. They said, if and when she comes in, you need to call my cell phone directly, and I will be there. Don't scare her off.
That same morning, Nadia walks into the East Orange precinct to claim her vehicle. The desk officer follows the plan to a T.
I arrived at the East Orange Police Department. She was sitting in the lobby. I just told her, Nadia, stand up, turn around, put your hands behind your back. We told Nadia she was under arrest for murder. Took her into custody.
It's surprising she went into this police station after the alleged murder. Even if it is a different precinct, it's still a pretty gutsy move.
Nadia Venable was charged with multiple offenses, including burglary, felony murder, conspiracy to commit murder.
Detectives are confident they've caught Sharon Moen's killer. But would Nadia come clean about her role in the crime?
After she was Mirandized, Nadia agreed to waive her rights and waive her right to an attorney, and she did speak to the police.
What Nadia says will confirm just how far she was willing to go to keep Kenny Carter by her side.
This was done for the love of a man. Nadia loved Kenny, and she would do anything for Kenny.
May 16, 2010. Investigators have arrested Nadia Venable as the prime suspect in the brutal murder of 29-year-old Sharon Mowens. They believe the women were caught up in a toxic game stoked by one man, Kenny Carter.
Sharon and Kenny already had children together, but Nadia was carrying Kenny's baby.
Kenny apparently was going back and forth between the two mothers.
Detectives question Nadia, and to their surprise, she immediately opens up about what happened.
She was going to talk to us, so we were there to listen.
She told them a little bit about the background of her relationship with Kenny and with Sharon.
Nadia explains that once she and Kenny started dating, she felt their love would last forever.
And looking at this relationship, things not only progress very quickly, but very deeply. Whenever someone enters into a new relationship, there is this euphoric sense of this person is all that we need, and be that person's everything.
Nadia claims it wasn't long before Kenny proposed to her and asked her to move in with him.
They begin this romantic relationship, and about a month later, they're already living together.
They're doing everything together. It's a functioning household. It's clear that Kenny is moving on from his days with Sharon, and he's moving on with Nadia.
Nadia says that when she became pregnant, Kenny was beyond excited.
I think in Nadia's mind, it solidified her victory over Sharon. Now I have Kenny's child. I will only assume she's very prideful of all she's accomplished in a very short time. I think it's a game changer.
Kenny had promised Nadia that they were going to get a bigger house together. They were going to move all his children in together. They were going to be this big, happy family.
Nadia says that things were going well, but then, 6 months into the pregnancy, something about Kenny changed.
Kenny starts acting really funny. He's disappearing. He's gone for days on end. He's not answering the phone.
When she's questioning, where are you? Very vague answers, enough to make any woman essentially get upset about what's happening to her.
He began his tricks, like he did with Sharon, leaving, using her, not making those promises that he was supposed to keep.
Nadia says that Kenny's dismissive attitude toward her made her suspect he'd rekindled his romance with Sharon, which led the two women to confront each other once again.
There'd be these arguments, calling names, disrespecting of one another. Sharon and Nadia kind of had this rivalry.
Nadia says shortly after one of these blow-ups, Kenny packed his bags and moved in with Sharon. Nadia was crushed.
She must have felt the sense of abandonment. This is the father of my child. Where is he? Why isn't he here? There's this level of desperation for answers. There's this level of wanting to understand and know what is going on. This should have really been a really happy time for Nadia and Kenny. They should have been celebrating their baby, but instead she's entirely alone.
She now has to carry the burden of the entire home, which is a heavy burden to bear. Things begin to really deteriorate very, very quickly.
According to Nadia, she was desperate to have the happy family Kenny had promised her. And she wasn't about to let Sharon take her place in that fantasy.
She straight up said I was going to go there to F her up. She didn't say that she was going there to murder her. She said she was going there to F her up.
Now 7 months pregnant, Nadia enlists her 15-year-old cousin, Erica, as backup.
Her intention was to go inside, to throw the bleach in her face and to beat her up.
She thought Kenny was testing her loyalty and her love. She thought he wanted to see just how far she was willing to go for him.
Nadia instructs Erica to knock on Sharon's door. When she answers, they attack. But Nadia tells police that's when things took an unexpected turn.
Nadia said it was her cousin that attacked Sharon and stabbed her to death.
Nadia is somebody who, for all accounts, had a squeaky clean record. This is not somebody who was killed before.
According to Nadia, Erica was extremely protective of her and was nearly as furious with Sharon as she was.
The detectives are very suspicious of Nadia's story. They're wondering why a 15-year-old girl is going to kill a virtual stranger, and in such a horrific way.
Investigators need to find Nadia's cousin and get her side of the story.
We ended up issuing arrest warrants for her.
Police tracked down Nadia's 15-year-old cousin and bring her in for questioning.
Erica confirms much of Nadia's story.
She indicated that she was basically just there to back up Nadia should things get out of hand.
Nadia had this plan that she was going to use her younger cousin as a decoy to knock on the door.
But Erica explains that once Sharon came to the door, Nadia went ballistic.
She said Nadia was on top of Sharon Moen, stabbing her multiple times.
The cousin said that she never killed anyone, and that it was all Nadia.
Despite the conflicting accounts, detectives believe it was Nadia who was really wielding the knife that day.
The 15-year-old cousin had absolutely no motive to go and do any harm to Sharon or to anybody else that was involved in this.
For Nadia, with Sharon no longer in the picture, Kenny could be set free. No longer have to worry about the shame or the guilt of leaving behind Sharon and his 3 children.
Witnesses saw her leaving that apartment covered in blood. And she had this disturbing grin on her face. It's like she had won.
Investigators have arrested 20-year-old Nadia Venable and her 15-year-old cousin Erica for the murder of Sharon Moens, a 29-year-old mother of 3. They believe Nadia's devotion to her man, Kenny Carter, may have driven her to kill.
Nadia had multiple incidences with Sharon Moen over the past 16 months, physical altercations over jealousy and fighting over Kenny.
Authorities feel confident in their case against Nadia, thanks to help from an unlikely source.
They struck a deal with the 15-year-old cousin in exchange for her to cooperate with them and testify against Nadia.
While awaiting trial, Nadia gives birth to a baby girl.
While in prison, Nadia ended up giving birth to Kenny's baby, and the baby was taken by the state and given up for adoption.
That's because Kenny Carter, the child's biological father, had landed himself in jail shortly after the murder.
Kenny was mad about my sister being murdered. He went to where him and Nana used to live at. He went there, he burnt down her house.
He damaged everything that she had, as basically saying, "You can't have me."
He ended up getting incarcerated for it.
In June 2013, almost 3 years after Sharon Moen's murder, Nadia Venable's trial finally gets underway.
It was a 3-week trial, and I have never seen a jury that was as attentive as this jury was.
The prosecution contends Nadia attacked Sharon in order to prove her love for Kenny Carter. To bolster that theory, the state calls Nadia's 15-year-old cousin Erica to the stand.
She said my sister came, running towards the door, and that's when they threw the bleach in my sister's face.
Sharon's blinded by this bleach.
They started to hit her, started to punch her.
Erica tells the court that's when Sharon's 10-year-old daughter fled the apartment.
Nadia tells her cousin to shut the door.
Sharon's in this panic. She runs into the kitchen.
She grabs a knife. She loses control.
And that's when, according to Erica, Nadia grabbed the knife and began stabbing Sharon.
Nadia wanted to keep Kenny at any cost. And even if that cost meant killing Sharon, to her, in that moment at least, it was completely worth it.
Nadia may not have gone there with the intention of completely ending Sharon's life, but once this attack got so out of control, she knew that she needed to finish what she started. And she wouldn't have to worry about this threat anymore.
Prosecutors assert that Sharon was concerned for the safety of her children, who were still in the home during the murder.
Sharon knew that she was gonna die at this moment.
That's the last thought she had, was about her children.
Erica states that after Nadia stabbed Sharon some 27 times, the two women fled the apartment, where they encountered one of Sharon's neighbors. And Nadia flashed that now infamous smile.
The smile says it all. You leave someone to die, you have blood all over you, you show no remorse, and you leave thinking you did it. That you've eliminated your competition and that your man will come back to you.
When it's the defense's turn, they make a bold move and call Nadia herself to the witness stand.
Nadia's defense is that she really didn't do it, that it was her younger cousin who did everything.
I asked her, were you there when she was stabbed over 27 times? She said, yes, I was there. She admitted to being there the entire time, but not taking any part in any of it.
But whose testimony would the jury believe? Just 3 hours after both sides rest their case, the foreman announces they've reached a verdict.
They found her guilty of all the charges.
Nadia Venable is sentenced to 55 years in prison. As for Erica, her charges are dropped in exchange for providing testimony against her cousin. While Nadia's sentence gives Sharon's family a sense of justice, nothing could ever bring back their loved one.
My sister is Sharon. I miss her so much. But it's like, she's still with me. It's a beautiful thing, but a sad thing at the same time. Since my sister passed, I made a promise that I was gonna keep her kids together, and that's what I have done. I adopted her 2 boys. I'm doing the best that I can as an aunt. I feel like sometimes, like if she was here, a lot of things would be so much better. So much better.
It seems lives were destroyed by a jealous rivalry, fueled by one man's desire to have his cake and eat it too.
Kenny couldn't make up his mind on which woman he wanted to be with. So Nadia decided to take matters into her own hands and help him make that decision. And unfortunately, she took it too far. The moment the knife went into her hand, she lost it.
Then on July 1st, 2014, the case takes another dark turn.
Less than a year into her sentence, Nadia Venable dies in prison. The cause of death was a seizure.
It's a tragic ending for a young woman once so filled with promise, who was willing to throw it all away simply for a man.
This was done for Kenny. She risked it all for the love that she had for him.
She thought challenging Sharon would impress him, turn him on, show him how loyal she was.
When you think about a woman killing for her man, you have to think about jealousy, rejection, these feelings of essentially feeling out of control. This was Nadia's way to gain control back in her relationship with Kenny.
She thought if Sharron was no longer in the picture, then maybe Kenny would be hers. They could have a real future together, a happy family, and have a happy ending.
Love can be a dangerous game. When someone is dishonest, when they toy with your emotions, desperation can sink in. And you'll do anything to anyone to keep that love alive. When a love is so strong it can't be contained, sometimes it's better to hide it from view, to keep it from those closest to you, to walk the line of a double life. But what happens when that line starts to fade? When your two worlds crash into one another? When that love you fought so hard to keep secret sneaks up from behind and swallows you whole. July 12th, 2017, 5:30 a.m. It's daybreak in Vista, California, about 40 miles northeast of San Diego.
The city of Vista has both a rural area to it as well as a city area to it. It's a nice location. It has a lot of open space.
A construction worker is driving to his latest job site, using one of Vista's desolate roads.
This is an area where there really are not a lot of people. It's just a dirt road in the middle of nowhere.
The worker spots something a few feet from the road.
He saw what appeared to be a man slumped over with no shirt on. He honked at him. He wasn't moving. He got no response from him.
As he got a little bit closer, he saw the blood was dripping down his chest. He realized this guy might actually be dead, and so he called 911.
Within minutes, emergency responders arrived to assess the victim.
Patrol deputy arrived, and he immediately noticed there was blood all over his chest and his face.
There were 3 gunshot wounds. One was to his chest, the other was to his thigh, and the final one was to the back of his head.
As police dive into the investigation, they'll soon discover a grisly plot with a love-struck teenager at the center of it all. 18-year-old cheerleader Shafaa Chevis was living the high school dream.
Shafaa was very active in high school. She was in a number of activities. She's well liked by her friends and peers.
Everyone in the community really just admired her.
With her senior year coming to a close, Shafaa had big plans for the future.
Shafaa was on the honor roll and had gotten into college. She was looking into being a dentist.
She had college award letters. She had a very bright future.
From the outside, Shafaa's life seemed perfect. But on the inside, Shafaa felt a bit lonely.
All her friends are partnering up, and there's that sense of who's going to be my guy.
She thought, I know that I've got this future. I've worked all hard for this,
but there's this piece that's missing.
In December of 2016, Shafa found what she was looking for. When she reconnected with an old friend, 20-year-old Shirelle Wesley.
She knew him from being friends with her brother and coming over to the house. Shafa, from the time she was 4th or 5th grade, put him up on a pedestal. So he's up there and I'm down here. I'm this bookworm, he's this superstar.
Shirelle was a hip-hop dancer and aspiring rapper, making a splash in the local music scene.
He was that kind of guy that everybody wanted to be around, wore the good clothing and had videos, but he made some bad choices.
Shirelle had just been released from prison and was back in town.
Shirelle had previously been arrested for armed robbery of a gun shop.
They took over the store, they assaulted the manager. Based on that incident, Shirelle was sentenced to 2 years in state prison.
Even though Shafa's brother had experienced a falling out with Shirelle, Shafa continued to hold a soft spot for him.
They were complete polar opposites. Shafa kind of saw that bad boy attitude and kind of was attracted to that.
Shafa knew her family wouldn't approve, but she couldn't deny the spark she felt.
They thought he was bad news. Shafa's brother didn't want anything to do with him at that point. He was not welcome anymore.
In an effort to hide their relationship from Shafa's parents, Shafa and Shirelle began hanging out in secret.
Shafa spent every day with him. She really hit it off with him, and she had to keep it a secret.
The chemistry between the two was magnetic.
Shafa was infatuated with this older guy and thought that she had found this excitement and romance that she was looking for.
Her life no longer was school, friends, family. It was Shirelle, Shirelle, Shirelle.
She had fallen for him. She was in love with him, and she wanted to be with him at any cost.
But little did she know, the world of trouble her lifelong crush would soon get her in. July 12, 2017. San Diego detectives have just responded to a gunshot victim found dead about 40 miles outside the city.
Police were on the scene in this remote area where they had found a body with 3 gunshot wounds.
It did not appear to be a crime of passion. This more appeared to be some type of planned event.
Investigators searched through the victim's pockets for identifying information.
Detectives pull out his wallet, and they found his identification.
The victim is 21-year-old D'Angelo Sharon. In addition to his ID, detectives also find a receipt in the victim's wallet.
The receipt was from a liquor store that was about an hour and a half away from the crime scene near downtown San Diego, where he had made a transaction about 12:30 in the morning.
So now we're looking at a small window which puts our victim in San Diego 4 hours ago.
Detectives survey the scene for additional evidence. They spot 2 .40 caliber shell casings less than 10 feet from the body and a trail of blood drops.
There was also a fingernail that was broken off, laying in the middle of the roadway, right amongst the blood droplets.
It was a woman's type fingernail, burgundy red, acrylic.
It seems a woman is connected to D'Angelo's death. But how? Detectives would soon uncover a popular cheerleader had gotten in too deep with her man. And all hell had broke loose.
The dream she thought she was going to have was going to become a nightmare.
– 18-year-old Shafa Chevis had fallen head over heels for 20-year-old Shirelle Wesley.
Shafa and Shirelle seemed to hit it off with a mutual infatuation for each other.
The cheerleader was dating Shirelle behind her family's back.
I noticed that Shafa was acting differently and that she would not confide in me. I had no clue she was in a relationship.
Having that double life was the road for trouble for Shafa.
July 12th, 2017. Police have identified murder victim 21-year-old D'Angelo Sharon, who was found shot to death on a remote roadside in Vista, California.
Now that the detectives knew who D'Angelo Sharon was, the next step was to contact his family.
Investigators strike out on finding D'Angelo's next of kin, but they do find a curious association. D'Angelo's last known address is also the family home of recent prison parolee Shirelle Wesley.
Shirelle actually had a violent history. He had been prosecuted for an armed gun store robbery.
With Shirelle's history and connection to the victim, detectives hope he can offer some clues as to who killed D'Angelo. Later that day, they pay a visit to the Wesley residence. Shirelle isn't home, but detectives notify Mr. and Mrs. Wesley of D'Angelo's death.
They were devastated to hear the news. The Wesley family had revealed to the detectives that D'Angelo was basically like a family member and the best friend of their son, Shirelle.
The Wesley family allowed D'Angelo to stay there. D'Angelo's home life wasn't exactly the greatest.
Then, the Wesleys tell detectives about a disturbing incident that happened earlier that same day.
Shirelle had told them around 7 a.m. when he returned to the house that he believed that D'Angelo had been kidnapped and was possibly murdered by either cartel or Mexican mafia people.
The Wesleys say they had been hoping D'Angelo would turn up unharmed, but feared the worst.
They said that they had been planning on contacting the police themselves.
Detectives aren't so sure Shirelle was telling his parents the truth.
D'Angelo was not associating with gang members in Vista. But the family absolutely believed what Shirelle had said, that it had to be that D'Angelo got into some problems on his own and that it couldn't have been Shirelle. Shirelle and D'Angelo were the best of friends. They were brothers.
Detectives ask Mr. and Mrs. Wesley if they know where Shirelle is now.
They had no idea where he was at. They hadn't heard from him since earlier that morning.
It was clear Shirelle's family didn't know anything about what D'Angelo and Shirelle possibly could have been doing.
Detectives thank the Wesleys for their time and put out an APB for Shirelle.
They think he's hiding something.
It seems strange that he disappeared after giving this odd story about the cartel and didn't even contact law enforcement.
As police fan out in search of Shirelle, detectives pursue the next lead, the liquor store receipt.
The receipt from the liquor store was dated July 12th at about 30 minutes after midnight.
When detectives arrive at the store, they ask the manager to view the surveillance footage from the night before.
Around midnight, it shows a white Toyota pull up to the side of the liquor store. Our victim, D'Angelo, walking into the store with another male.
I noticed that he had tattoos on his neck, tattoos on his face, similar hair to Shirelle Wesley.
The men approached the front cashier and examined the alcohol display. After a few minutes, the second man detectives believe to be Shirelle leaves the store and returns to the car.
The detectives see the driver of the vehicle as a black female, and she doesn't get out of the vehicle, she's just in the front seat. We have a very good suspicion that that's going to be her fingernail that's at the crime scene.
As Shirelle and the woman wait for D'Angelo, things get a little hot and heavy.
They appeared to start making out. Became very intimate while sitting there in the car, waiting for D'Angelo to purchase the alcohol.
Minutes later, D'Angelo returns to the car with a bag of liquor, and the trio drives away.
D'Angelo, he's found dead on the side of the road not too long after he had been seen with Shirelle.
Detectives are sure Shirelle and his lady friend are both connected to the murder. But how do they find them? Luckily, the surveillance video gives them a great lead.
The license plate is extremely clear because of the new type of security cameras. We need to get in contact with the register owner.
Back at the station, detectives run a quick search on the license plate.
The license plate comes back to the register owner's address, Shafaa Chavez.
Shafaa has no criminal record and seems like a model citizen.
She was that all-American girl that you'd want to have living next door.
So how did this girl next door end up connected to a vicious murder? And why?
Her heart was blinded. She didn't know better. And that's what made it a disaster.
July 2017. San Diego police are investigating the murder of 21-year-old D'Angelo Cherone. They need to speak to his best friend, Shirelle Wesley, and Shirelle's girlfriend, Shafaa Chavez, after surveillance footage shows the couple with D'Angelo hours before his death.
At this point, we had a convicted felon with D'Angelo and this girl who seemed to have a very different background in life. It was a real mystery to the detectives why she was with them.
The surveillance video establishes probable cause and allows detectives to obtain a search warrant of the teen's car. Just after 9 p.m. on July 17th, police head to Shafaa's family home.
They caught Shafaa with cleaning supplies walking out to her white car.
This looks very, very suspicious. It's like she's trying to clean up evidence of what had happened in this car.
When police cuff the 18-year-old, they notice she's missing a red fingernail.
We need to match the broken fingernail at the scene with the broken fingernail that she has on her left hand.
The commotion sends Shafaa into a panic.
She was a cheerleader, honor student. She's going to be emotionally very agitated because this is not her world. She never dealt with the police.
Shafaa sort of had a defeated slump about her when she realized they had a warrant and that they were going to get into the trunk of that car.
Shafaa's parents come outside to see what's going on, and they're stunned by the sight.
It just was disbelief, still so much disbelief.
Shafaa and her family can only watch as investigators search every inch of her car.
They found a pair of sweatpants, socks, and shoes. All of them had what appeared to be dried blood on them.
Immediately, you could tell they were the same items from the video that Shirelle Wesley was wearing the night before.
Police also recover a blue sweatshirt that matches the one D'Angelo had on in the liquor store surveillance video.
D'Angelo's dead body was found shirtless.
After searching Shafaa's vehicle, investigators proceed inside the family home. Inside the teen's bedroom, they hit pay dirt.
We located a black backpack. Inside that was a Hi-Point .40 caliber handgun.
This was the same caliber of handgun that matched the .40 caliber casings at the crime scene.
They also find an open package of alcohol swabs next to the weapon.
It had appeared that someone had been using them in order to try to wipe down the gun.
After the evidence is collected, Shafa's parents can only look on in shock as their perfect daughter is taken into custody.
When the police arrived at the house, I figured if it was anything, it was something minor. But when she told me it was for murder, it was mind-blowing. Could not believe that.
On the north side of town, officers staking out the Wesley family home catch a lucky break.
They do see an individual that matches the description of Shirel, and it is in fact Shirel.
Police move in, but it seems Shirel is not going down without a fight.
He realized that they were hot on his trail and tried to run.
I pulled my gun, I pointed at his chest. I said, "Sheriff's Department, get on the ground, get on the ground." And he immediately put his hands up and he got down on the ground, face down.
Officers arrest Shirel without further incident and confiscate his cell phone. As they're getting ready to leave, they notice something outside the neighbor's home that could produce even more evidence against Shirel.
Investigators discovered that a neighbor had a home security camera.
Back at the station with Shafa and Shirel in custody, investigators examine the footage recorded on the morning of July 12th. It shows Shafa and Shirel pull up just after 6 a.m.
Shirel exits the vehicle, and Shafa gets out of the front passenger seat.
Shirel is wearing shorts as they approach the rear door of the vehicle and stop directly in view of the camera.
Shafa and Shirel embrace, kissing passionately, like, "Hey, we're gonna be all right. We're gonna be just fine."
The video provides a crucial link for investigators.
It shows that the couple is together at 6:15 in the morning.
This is just after the 911 caller reported D'Angelo's body on the roadside in Vista. The couple was clearly together during the murder. But the question is, would they stick together now?
We were wondering whether one was going to roll against the other.
When detectives sit down with Shirel, he'll make an admission they never saw coming.
She loves him and trusts him, but he's throwing the whole thing on her.
July 17th, 2017. San Diego police have just arrested Shafa Chevis and Shirel Wesley in connection with the murder of D'Angelo Sharon.
We had both of these suspects in custody, as well as a mountain of physical evidence against them.
Shafa and Shirel sit in separate but nearby holding rooms while they await questioning. Investigators have purposely placed them in close proximity.
The holding cells would be to our advantage in order to see if they would communicate with each other.
It doesn't take long for Shafa and Shirel to realize they can see each other.
The couple was trying to figure out what their story was going to be.
But how far are they willing to go to protect each other? Investigators pull Shirel in for interrogation first and ask him if he knows the victim.
Yes, I do know D'Angelo. That's my best friend. Did you get into an argument and shoot D? No, I would never do that to my best friend.
Detectives confront Shirel with being in the same car with D'Angelo hours before his murder.
He denies that's even him in the video. The investigators noted, "You have a face tattoo of a cross on your face. This is you in the picture," and he again denied that being him.
Investigators ask Shirel about his relationship with Shafaa Chevis, and his next statement is equally surprising.
Do you know Shafa? Shafa, no. You don't know anyone named Shafa? No.
Shirel denied her completely. Not just it wasn't his girlfriend, but he denied knowing Shafaa even existed.
Detectives knew Shirel was lying and that he was clearly the person who was in that liquor store video.
Investigators press Shirel, detailing the mountain of evidence against him.
Detectives had Shirel's clothes with blood on them from Shafaa's trunk. They had videos of Shirel with Shafaa and D'Angelo.
Faced with the abundant evidence, Shirel finally relents.
He gives in and admits that Shafaa is his girlfriend.
He admitted that they were all hanging out together that night, but he denied any responsibility for what happened to D'Angelo.
Shirel said he loved D'Angelo like a family member and that he would never hurt his brother.
He tells investigators that on the evening of July 12th, the three of them had driven to a remote area in Vista to hang out.
He said they had been drinking out there.
Shirel says that after a couple hours, D'Angelo got drunk and argumentative.
D'Angelo made some comment and disrespected Shirel, and Shirel challenged D'Angelo to a fight.
During their scuffle, Shirel says a gun that had been tucked into the waistband of D'Angelo's pants fell out on the ground.
They broke apart for a few seconds, and all of a sudden he heard bullets.
Shirel says he looked over and saw Shafaa standing near the car, a few feet away.
He said that Shafaa had pulled the trigger and killed D'Angelo. He yelled at her, "What are you doing? You just killed my best friend."
Shirel says Shafaa was just trying to defend him, but he never wanted her to shoot D'Angelo.
Investigators were shocked by the fact that Shirel was throwing his teenage girlfriend under the bus.
Shirel claims he never called police because he was trying to protect Shafaa, but detectives aren't buying it.
You just saw your friend get shot. You didn't go over there, render any first aid, anything. You got in the car and you drove away. And an hour and a half after we see them on video kissing.
For detectives, Shirel's version seems as unlikely as the lies he told his family about D'Angelo being abducted by a drug cartel.
It became very apparent that he wasn't going to give a truthful statement.
D'Angelo Sharon had been shot 3 times, the final shot being an execution-style wound.
That statement that he provided was completely uncorroborated by any evidence. The trajectory of the bullets did not make any sense. That Shafaa could have shot him standing near the car and hit him in an angle in the top of the head.
It seems more likely to detectives that the fatal shots had been fired by the felon rather than the high school cheerleader.
Shirel had more experience with guns, and he had a record. And if he and D'Angelo were fighting that night, he would need a better reason to want him dead.
When detectives speak with Shafaa, they hope she'll reveal what really happened that fateful night, especially once they tell her about Shirel's statement.
This person that she thought loved her was all about himself.
She's been betrayed by him and is faced with this decision about, what am I going to do?
"18-year-old cheerleader Shafaa Chevis has been arrested in connection to the execution-style murder of D'Angelo Sharon."
We all were in a state of shock because we had no idea that anything of this capacity could be happening to our little girl.
Shafaa's boyfriend, Shirel Wesley, has just told investigators that she pulled the trigger on his best friend.
In Shafa's eyes, she's looking to Cherelle to be this great protector, and he had essentially thrown her under the bus.
With Cherelle's statement in tow, detectives speak with Shafa. They tell her that Cherelle has pinned everything on her.
You can almost hear the heart shattering into pieces.
Distraught by Cherelle's betrayal, Shafa decides to cooperate with police.
Shafa began to realize that this person that she thought was protector and loved her did not love her, that he was all about himself. So at this point, she would go into a place of, I need to survive.
Shafa explains to detectives that she has been dating Cherelle behind her family's back. But after a while, she saw a side of him her family had been fearful of all along.
Shafa was definitely afraid of him. She had good reasons. He had abused her physically to the extent that she had a damaged jaw.
Arguments were happening every day. Any physical abuse, he would also blame it on her and say that, well, you got it because you should have, disrespected me this way. And she began to believe that.
Shafa tells investigators, 10 days before the murder, Cherelle showed her a gun while they were together.
She asked what he's doing with the handgun, and he said to her, hey, are you down with me? Are you going to be there for me? She didn't know where was this coming from.
Shafa says she was terrified, but she agreed to ride for him.
It's just her and him, and she said, of course I'm down with you.
Shafa says that's when Cherelle made a startling statement.
Cherelle went on to say that he believed that D'Angelo was plotting his murder, and that he was going to take out D'Angelo before D'Angelo took him out. D'Angelo had been hanging out with other individuals in different dance crews. This anger was fueled by his paranoia, so that he believed that D'Angelo was going to murder him.
Shafa basically told us that Cherelle had been planning this murder.
And so Shafa went along with it. She didn't tell law enforcement, she didn't tell her family, didn't tell anybody.
All of that must have been confusing for her within this kind of, I love this guy, I want to protect this guy, but he's got me doing these things that totally supersede my own values.
Shafa says she had no idea Cherelle would actually follow through with killing his best friend.
She didn't think any of that was going to happen.
Shafa claims that on July 11th, when Cherelle told her they were going to pick up D'Angelo to hang out, she didn't think anything of it.
They were planning on going out and drinking and just having a good time.
Shafa says they drove around, and the guys were drinking heavily.
D'Angelo, he got hot, and he took off his shirt before he passed out in the back seat.
That's when the night took a dark turn.
Cherelle told Shafa not to say a thing and tells her to drive north. Don't ask any questions, just do what I'm telling you.
Shafa's got to be terrified. But blinded by love, she was willing to do anything for this man to keep him happy.
They got on the freeway and wound up on a remote road in Vista.
She says Cherelle then put on some gloves and removed the firearm from under the seat.
She knew that he was going to confront D'Angelo.
Cherelle got out of the car and went around to the back, where D'Angelo was fast asleep.
Cherelle then opened the door, and he hit D'Angelo directly in the top of the head.
Shafa says D'Angelo was dazed as Cherelle dragged him out of the car at gunpoint.
D'Angelo kept asking, why are you doing this?
Cherelle told D'Angelo because he had been disrespected by his best friend.
Shafa says she heard D'Angelo deny the accusations, but that only fueled Cherelle's rage.
Shafa says that she heard D'Angelo say, I didn't do that. You're my brother, I love you. Please don't do this. And then she heard 3 gunshots.
After that, Cherelle jumped into the car and ordered Shafa to drive.
Shafar, she had to be terrified. She loved this guy, but she just saw what he was capable of if she didn't obey his commands.
She jumped out to close the car doors, but broke her fingernail in the rush.
Shafar tells detectives she drove to her house as Shirel instructed.
He then instructed her to go inside and get a pair of her brother's shorts and some tennis shoes, which she complied with and brought him out there.
Shafar says Shirel changed and put his bloody items into the trunk. Then he told her she needed to help him cover up the crime.
Shirel told Shafar, now you're going to destroy all this crime scene evidence. Anything with blood on it, including the gun, is going to be your responsibility to destroy this stuff.
Shafar is in shock and awe. How am I here? But that sense of, he's my world, I need to please him and protect him. That was the battle in her.
As the sun rises, they arrive at Shirel's house at 6 a.m., where they are captured on his neighbor's surveillance.
The surveillance camera caught them making out right after this horrible crime.
Although the weight of the world was on her shoulder, Shafar was continuing to show loyalty to her man.
After Shafar finishes her confession, she and Shirel are both charged with first-degree murder.
Shafar didn't pull the trigger, but she was complicit in the actions that led to someone's death.
Shafar's family is in shock.
We felt they had the wrong person, that she was being accused of something that we knew she couldn't have been involved in.
With the trial looming, prosecutors believe their case is rock solid. But will the love-struck cheerleader stay true to her confession? Or would she recant?
She had been manipulated by a very, very complex, borderline sociopath who can get people to act on his behalf.
July 2017. 18-year-old cheerleader Shafar Chevis has confessed to her part in D'Angelo Sharon's murder.
Her love for Shirel turned her life upside down.
Investigators charge both Shafar and her boyfriend, Shirel Wesley, with first-degree murder.
She could face life in prison for this. It was just so unbelievable that one errant decision could lead her to such a devastating possibility.
But there is a glimmer of hope for Shafar.
Shafar, she had very valuable information to offer, so I offered a plea bargain in exchange for her testifying against Shirel Wesley at trial.
She's thinking, do I protect myself or do I protect him?
In October 2018, more than a year after D'Angelo Sharon's murder, the trial against Shirel Wesley begins. Prosecutors argue Shirel killed his best friend and enlisted Shafar Chevis to help execute and cover up the crime.
He had this unfounded paranoia that D'Angelo was going to kill him, so he decided to kill D'Angelo first.
Shafar serves as the prosecution's star witness.
It took a lot of courage for Shafar to go into that courtroom, face this person that she had been in love with for so long, that had thrown her under the bus, and testify against him.
When Shafar takes the stand, she explains she felt like she had no choice but to follow her man's orders.
She testified about the physical and emotional abuse she suffered at the hands of her boyfriend. She talked about how she was really being forced into doing a lot of things just to support him.
So she was afraid of him at the time. She was afraid that he would harm her if she didn't go along with his wishes.
To combat Shafar's testimony, Shirel Wesley takes the stand in his own defense, and he is ultimately found guilty of first-degree murder.
He was sentenced to the maximum, 80 years to life.
As part of her plea deal, Shafa Chevis receives a sentence of 6 years in state prison for voluntary manslaughter.
So this case was a loss on so many different fronts. The victim, the Wesley family who lost a son to prison, and then you have Shafa, who is an All-American scholar, athlete, contributing member of society. Now she's spending the next 6 years in state prison.
For Shafa, her first crush became her worst nightmare and has left a lasting mark on her life she'll never forget.
Her life has changed from light into darkness, but we have hope that this can even be redeemed in her life.
First crushes can be exhilarating, but secret love, that can elicit danger. Especially if that love asks you to forego who you are and what you value. You may find your entire life turned upside down. Abuse is never okay. If you or someone you love is in an abusive relationship, there is help available. Call the Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE.